I've driven 150,000 miles in my Tesla over the last 2 years. I've even ran out of electricity one time. If you want to know anything about Tesla, batteries, range, you have range anxiety, this is the podcast for you. Hi, my name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive podcast. In this episode, I want to tell you everything I know about Tesla batteries, range anxiety, and all that. I'll even tell you a little bit about this new thing, referral, that I got. That's pretty cool. And then I'll answer your questions. Okay, yeah, it's true. I ran out of electricity about 2 months into owning my Tesla. You can watch the video. I'll put it up here so you can watch the full video. But ever since then, range anxiety, Tesla battery management, it's been super easy. And you should not make the same mistakes I made. I have a 2023 Tesla Model Y. It's got right at 150,000 miles on it. And the battery has degraded a little bit. That's probably the first thing everybody should know, is that when you buy a Tesla or any electric car or any electric anything with batteries, the batteries degrade over time. Well, my battery is at an 82% degradation, or basically it's degraded 18%. That means I used to get 330 miles of range in my brand new Tesla, but today it's more like 270, give or take. Okay, let me give you the easiest answer possible, the simplest thing. If you have a house, you own your home or you rent it or whatever, and you can charge your car at your place in a garage or in your driveway overnight, none of this matters. None of the rest of this video matters, because the reality is this. Even if my battery in my Tesla were to degrade, 50%, I only had half the range. My Tesla would only go 150 miles. Most Americans are going to drive 20, 30, 40 miles a day. So it just doesn't matter. You get home at night, you plug your car in, you wake up the next morning, and you go drive. So all this information about Tesla battery management and range anxiety and all of the stuff I'm going to talk about is really for people like me. Again, in 2 years, I've done 150,000 miles. I'm doing 75,000 miles a year. I'm doing like 1,000, 2,000 miles every single week. 300 miles a day. I'm putting miles on my car. I have range anxiety and I have to manage it. And if you're doing miles like me, you'll have to do it. Okay, so the first thing we should talk about is, how do I calculate my battery health? Well, right now, sitting out there in the driveway, my Tesla is parked. It says it's at 79% because I charge it to 80%. With that 80%, that means I'm getting 214 miles of range. So at 270 miles is the 100% level. So again, 214 at 79%, 270 at 100%, and 270 over 330 miles shows me that my battery effectiveness is at 82%. And so you can see on the chart, 330 miles is the range I had when I first bought the car. Right now at 150,000 miles, it's at 270. The science says that these batteries degrade fast in the beginning, but then they start to degrade slower over time. Who knows how long? I've seen people with Teslas that have 500,000 miles. Now, the battery could fail, but right now, this is the current battery health of my Tesla. But 270 miles is not my real range. My real range is a little bit different. I'm going to put it at 162 miles. And the reason why, and you can see in this graphic here, is that I have an 80% to 20% range. Typically, when I'm not going on a road trip of any kind, I'm going to charge the car to 80%, and I'm normally going to drive it down to 20%, sometimes a little bit less, but normally 20%. Well, that's 60% of 270 miles, which equals 162 miles of effective range. But here's where it gets really interesting. Again, this is technical and it's complex and it doesn't really matter, but it matters to me because I'm charging a lot. But here's what happens. When it's really cold, and it's super cold right now, it's like 5 degrees outside right now here in my house, I'm probably going to lose another 25 miles of that 162 miles of range just to cold. Electricity doesn't work as well. The batteries don't perform as well. Cold weather, and I think really hot weather, affects the battery. The next thing is what's called preconditioning the battery. Now, I have a heat pump in my Tesla. And what does that mean? That means that when the battery needs to get charged, the heat pump turns on. And the only thing driving the heat pump is electricity. I'll probably lose another roughly 10 miles of range due to the heat pump. The next thing is traction control. My Tesla has two motors in it. Most of the time, the rear motor is driving the vehicle. But when it's snowy, icy, rainy, the front motor kicks in. If you're accelerating a lot, if you're going really fast, that also will reduce your range. But in a snowy day, both motors are working. I'm going to, again, lose more range. But I'm going to say roughly 10 miles. Then Tesla motors or electric motors don't have gears. So in your car, you might have better miles to the gallon when you're going faster because you can use gears to basically get the maximum efficiency at a highway speed. And in the city, your car's idling when you're going slow and stuff like that, which means you're actually using more gas. Well, it's the exact opposite for an electric car. When I'm in the city and I'm driving 20, 30 miles an hour, that's when my car is getting the best, I'm going to use the word miles to the gallon, but watts per mile. And that's the number that we're looking at here. We can't see it on the screen, but that's the number that affects it. So the faster I go, if I get on the highway and I go faster, friction, whatever, the motor's turning faster, I'm actually losing range faster. I'm burning more watts per mile. Hills, wind affects the range, let's say another 5 miles, and then another 5 miles for just other things. Let's say I turn, and the heat seaters and the air conditioning don't really affect it that much. It could be anything, but that is from 162 is probably more like 102 miles of effective real range in my Tesla. I know you're going to think that's crazy, but go back to my first point. 102 miles means nothing to most people. I'm going to use my lovely wife as an example. She maybe drives 20 miles a day. So who cares what the effective range is on her vehicle in the worst of worst conditions? Because 102, she's never going to exceed that. So if you're only driving around town, even if up to 100 miles, 50 miles somewhere, then 50 miles back, none of this matters. This only matters to people like me again. Okay, now let's talk about road trips, because I think that's the thing that most people really start to think about a lot. In the Tesla app, I can just say, hey, I'm going from my house, and in this example, I'm going to Boston, and I just say, I'm going to depart at 100% electricity range or battery capacity. And Tesla does all of the calculations for me. I don't have to do anything. It just calculates it. It says, hey, you're going to stop in Albany, and then you're going to stop in Palmer, Mass, and then you're going to get to Boston with 9% battery. And I'm going to stop in Albany for about, I think 16 minutes is what it says. And then I'm going to stop in Palmer, Massachusetts for another 7 minutes. And there you go. It's going to plan the whole trip out for me. It's super easy and it works really, really well. Now, 7 minutes, just to be clear, that's more than enough time to plug your car in, go in to wherever you're going to go, use the restroom, get a cup of coffee. You're probably going to charge more at Albany and at Palmer on this example of a road trip. Now, this is going from my house to somewhere in Massachusetts, Boston, 300 miles. I think once you start to get longer road trips, let's say from my house in New York to like Los Angeles, you're going to charge 20 or 30 times, maybe more on that road trip. So I do not recommend a Tesla for really excessive long road trips on a regular basis. I only recommend it for like up to 400 miles where you'd stop 2, 3, maybe if the weather's really, really bad, 4 times. Now, let's talk about charging time. People ask me, well, how long does it take to charge? That's a loaded question because if I were to charge it to an outlet at my house, let's say a 110 outlet, it could take days, weeks. I don't know. I've never charged it at that. Then there's a level 2 charger, which is what I have at my house or other chargers. That gets up to like 48 amps. I don't know how many kilowatts per hour. That's all on me with electricity. But it takes about 3 to 5, 6 hours to charge here at my house. So again, when I get home on an empty battery, I just plug it in. When I wake up in the morning, it's at 80%. So it takes, again, depending upon a couple of factors, weather and some other things, this is going to take 4 to 6 hours, give or take. Now, when I go to a supercharger, There's actually different levels of superchargers, but for the most part, they all work the same. If you precondition your battery for 10, 20, 30 minutes, it's going to heat your battery up. You pull into a supercharger. If you're at the lowest level of battery state, let's say 5, 10, 15%, and you go to a supercharger where it's 125, 150, 325 kilowatt hours or whatever the math is on that, doesn't matter. You pull in, the car is going to charge really fast in the beginning. It's going to go from like 5% to 30% to 40% in just a few minutes. It's going to go up there really quickly. Then it's going to go slower. The example that I heard from Elon Musk one time is that the electrons, if you pull into a supercharger with a low battery state, low charge, what's going to happen is the electrons are going to enter your battery and they're going to easily find parking. But as your battery gets full, they have to drive around a little bit more to find parking. But basically, when you go on a road trip or you go to a charger, you're not trying to charge it from 0 to 100% every single time. You're trying to charge it enough to get to the next thing. So for me, that's why I'm charging it basically every 100 miles during the winter when it's really, really cold. I'm going in for, I don't know, just a few minutes just to charge, get a cup of coffee. You can see here's where I live. I live in, again, Casanova, New York. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chargers in the rough area that I drive in. And that's about a 60-mile range on the map. And how much does it cost to charge? Well, here's an example. The other night, coming home, I was down in Ithaca driving, and on my way home, I wanted to charge just enough to get home with about 10% battery, 15% battery. So when I go into the Tesla map, I say, take me home, and I hit FSD and the car starts driving. It actually routes me to the charger. And you can see I stopped for 7 minutes on my way home. It was about an hour-long drive. And I put $5 worth of electricity into the car, and that got me home with 10% battery. It's just that easy. So when it comes to charging, and the final thing I'll leave with this idea about charging is that if you have a Tesla, even me as a person with range anxiety because I'm an Uber driver and I'm putting 300 miles plus on my car every single time I go out and Uber drive, it's really not a big deal because what happens is I just say, here's the destination I want to go, and Tesla does all of the routing for me. It preconditions the battery. It takes me to the charger. It charges the car. All I have to do is be aware of the range. The downside as an Uber driver for me is if my car, let's say, only has 100 or 150 miles worth of range, and I get a long trip potentially, like let's say from Syracuse to Ithaca, and I don't have enough range, but I can plan for that. I could just charge the car 5, 10 minutes before I go to the airport or wherever those long trips might exist and be ready to take any trip that I want to take. So for me, charging 2 or 3 times in a given shift while I'm working 12 hours, they're just breaks. I drive for 3 or 4 hours. I put in the destination to a charger. I get to that charger. I plug it in. I'm there for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I get a cup of coffee. I go for a quick walk. I come back out. My Tesla is now at 60, 70%, whatever the number is. And I go back out and drive for 3 or 4 hours. And then I take another break. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go home. I route the map home. Boom. Tesla plans it all out for me. Ultimately, what you want to do when it comes to charging is you want to arrive at your destination, like for me, my house, or at the charger with the least amount of electricity in the car. You don't want to run out of electricity, but you want to get home and go, okay, I'm at 10%, 15%, plug it in and it'll charge fast. And I want to charge at home as much as possible. I definitely want to do most of my charging at home. And because my charging at home is 14 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas charging at a supercharger is 3 times as much. Now, people will say, well, Levi, what happens if your battery fails? Fair point. It's the same thing as your transmission going out, your engine failing, you get some sort of head gasket blown, whatever it might be. It could be upwards of $10,000, $12,000 is what I've heard. There's some exaggerated claims online where they're $15,000, $20,000. But after my research, I've heard them as low as $5,000 to as much as $12,000. What I do is I save money as an Uber driver as I go out and I drive, and I use that money, a couple of cents for every mile I drive, and I put that away in a savings account. And so if my battery fails, I can just go buy another battery. And I can also use that money to buy another vehicle, whatever. Yes, the Tesla depreciates more. Road trips are a little bit of a challenge. And honestly, having driven my Tesla in New York City and Boston, I don't think I would have a Tesla or an electric car in a major city, especially if I don't have a way to charge at home. It's a different experience with traffic and other things. For me, all the superchargers are like 5-10 minutes away. No matter where I'm driving around, it's like, oh, there's always a supercharger really quickly. It's easy for me to get to because there's no real traffic in Syracuse or Binghamton or Ithaca. It's just, I can just go drive down to there and take my break. When I was driving in New York City, I happened to be in Manhattan and I needed to charge my car. I did drive an hour into Brooklyn, which is like, I don't know, 5-mile, 10-mile drive, but it took forever to get out to that supercharger. The superchargers getting to and from wherever you're at back into the zone, that's a real challenge. So I don't think I would have an electric car in major cities, especially if I couldn't charge at home. Electric cars, like a Tesla, work amazing when you live in a place like I do, and you can charge at home overnight and you're not doing long road trips. I would say a lot of people that own Teslas may never, ever go to a supercharger. But a guy like me, I go all the time. I get a lot of questions about my Tesla. I hope that answers it. It's still cheaper to operate, especially when you consider maintenance. Like I've only done tires on the vehicle. I did one repair for like $600 on a speaker on the outside of the car, but that's it. I don't do oil changes. I don't have to do anything. I just get tires. It's a super cheap car to operate, especially when you're charging your at home on electricity. The downside is super long trips and or being near a charger. You have to be thinking about it a little bit as opposed to just driving my Prius where I just go to the gas station. I get tons of questions and I thought I'd answer them. I did have some more questions though, or some more comments on my podcast, and I thought I'd answer those. People were like, well, Levi, why are you going to Boston? This was Connie. Work. Just work. I was in Boston for a day. And I do some work around the Northeast. And so, yeah, that's why I was in Boston. And I would love to connect with drivers in some of these cities, but I swear I'm in them and out of them so fast for a meeting that it's just not even easy for me to schedule a hello. One day, though, I'm going to go to Boston. I'm going to go to Philly. I'm going to go to New York. And I'm going to have like a driver meetup. That would be really exciting. And then let's see here. Lex asked me, he goes, how did you learn to edit videos? How did I learn to edit videos? I don't know. I've been doing it for so long. But I use a program called Descript. It's really easy to use. I'll put up a screenshot of what it kind of looks like. But basically, you just have a timeline of an audio video track, what I'm recording right now. And then I can just overlay things over the top of it. You add some music and sound. Descript. That's what I use. I think there's a referral link I might get. I don't know. But speaking of referrals, I forgot to even talk about this. I got my first Uber referral. I've been an Uber driver for almost 6 years now. I think 6 years to the day. And I've never referred using a referral link to do that. Well, a driver, his name I won't say, but he asked me for a referral link. I gave it to him. He did it. And I made $50. That was super cool. I was so grateful for that. Shout out to all the sponsors. If you want to help support the channel, join Thrive. Right here on YouTube, it costs like $3 a month to make exclusive videos just for Thrive members. I give them a little bit more behind the scenes, like how I use Descript, et cetera, why I'm in Boston and things like that, if you're interested. If you don't want to pay, no worries. Go to the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group that's really active. It's full of drivers. Here's your warning. Any spam, you're immediately kicked out. So don't join and think you can sell a bunch of stuff in there. It's just for drivers only. Thank you so much to sponsors like GigU, Lace Fit, and Red Tiger. I really appreciate it. And drivers for 2026. I want to have more fun. I really do. So that's what I'm trying to focus on for this year. Just more fun being a driver. Get out of the grind and just enjoy the gig. I hope that you are safe, healthy, and happy. I hope you're enjoying the ride. And I want you to know that I am cheering for you. Be well. Bye.